Thank you, everybody. My name is Dean Takahashi. I'm the lead writer for VentureBeat at VentureBeat. This is my second time at Slush, and I'm happy to be back. I am 6 years in at VentureBeat. We have about six conferences of our own coming next year. 2 of them are game conferences. One is a smaller GameSpeed Summit in May, and another is a bigger conference in October. I'm here with Manish Agarwal, the CEO of Reliance Games, and he's going to tell us about games in India and the larger mobile market as well. So
sure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And, please tell us about Reliance, I guess.
So Reliance is, you must have seen the Next Games session here. We work, like them, we work with the Hollywood studios. We have created a couple of games. Most famous of our game is Real Steel World Robo Boxing. And then we have worked with a variety of studios to really bring the movie IP on the mobile gaming space. Last year we did Hunger Games game. Then we have done Pacific Rim. We have done After Earth. So what we understand is the brand and IP. And I think one of the reasons why we took that road was the issue which Hari was talking about in terms of discovery of games being a clear issue for developers and players. And I think IP really helps us a lot in that manner. So we publish games globally, and with predominantly US and Europe being our largest market.
So Real Steel, tell us how successful that's been as well. You've got a large number of downloads there.
So Real Steel, I think one of the things which we have done, Real Steel, how many of you know a movie called Real Steel? Great. So it came 3 years back, and we still have games live on the app stores of across operating systems. And we have more than 1 million daily active users still playing that game. For us, that has been a great example of building a franchise, and more than 50 million downloads have happened across these Android and App Store of Dean, of Real Steel franchise. And if you look at, combine this whole franchise activity, I think very few developers have been able to create sequels of the same IP and successfully deliver it to the consumers and the fans of that IP.
So why is the timing right now for branded IP?
So I believe, just to kind of again borrow, whether it's a 300 games on app stores or 800 games at app stores, every day being uploaded, the discovery of games is the biggest pain. Yeah. And I absolutely agree that just getting featured by Apple or Google is not a scalable, sustainable model. The game needs to have something in it. However, the discovery of the game, IP really, really solves. For example, when we launched Hunger Games game, in the first week we got 3 to 4 million downloads. That was a great problem, good problem to have for us. Similarly, when we launched Pacific Rim, we really upwards of $1 million. Now, just do a very simple maths of a dollar or a $2 cost per install. That's the kind of saving of the cost which you are doing it, plus you're getting a great confidence that my game will get discovered. And I think that is where the branded IP works well. What, in my opinion, also is a potential opportunity is an alternate monetization route, which is brand sponsorships, which we have not tried, but we will definitely want to try, because in-app purchase and an ad network model are 2 legitimate monetization routes. But you know, the game design is the nature of the businesses. You may kind of fall flat. Now, in order to kind of mitigate your risk, if you can get brand sponsorships going, I think that will really kind of help you to cover your development cost. And I think that's where another branded IP plus comes into picture.
So what have you figured out is your specialty? I mean, you have 200 people, and that's a lot, but you also don't want to spread yourself too thin. So what are you focusing on?
So for us, freemium mobile gaming is the reality. We don't do anything else paid. We neither do paid mobile game. We don't get into console. We don't get into PC. We just stick to a freemium mobile game. And I think we very early, like 2 years back, we understood that the launch of a mobile game is the beginning of the problem. It's not the end of the problem. So what we understand is great amount of data analytics based consumer understanding, putting it together into a live operation, and how do we run game as a service. I think that is what our specialty is. So we don't get kind of disheartened when we see a country testing result and the KPIs are not really making sense. We go back to the drawing board, look at hypothesis, look at what needs to be done, and come back with more resilience to kind of solve those problems which we have defined. So I think running game as a service is something which we really call our specialty.
So India as a country hasn't had a rich tradition in games the way some others have had, like Japan, right? How has it been like starting this up in a country where it's not been the norm?
So I think India traditionally didn't have any devices to play. So if you look at traditionally the gaming from console to PC, I think India has leapfrogged both console and PC and directly moved to mobile. Today, you have 10 to 12 million smartphones being sold every month, right? We have a 550 million install base, unique people who use mobile phones in that country. And out of that, last year it was 50 million smartphones. This year alone, 120 million smartphones would be sold. In next 2 years, there'll be at least 300 million to 350 million smartphones in India. And one thing, the number 3 activity behind Facebook and WhatsApp is gaming. So people are playing game prolifically. They are downloading games. Roughly around 25-30 million games are getting downloaded every month. So it's a huge explosion in gaming, which is we are seeing. And very simple reason is the affordability of devices, because from some $100 device to anything which is high end is what your Android ecosystem is. And I think that is spurring the whole gaming market in India. And my belief is that I've been visiting China very closely. 3 years back, where exactly China was is in India today, with advent of explosion of gaming happening. And I think all the right indicators, whether it's about consumer willing to pay online, you must have seen big $1 billion e-commerce deals happening in India. Consumers playing on their games, spending a lot of time, devices proliferation, data prices coming down. I think these are all indicators for the monetization to follow. And that's what I'm very, very confident that India will be the flavor of the season in 18 to 24 months for everyone to really land in India. Like I see a China joy completely changed in last 3 years.
So you've divided your team into a team focused on the worldwide branded games as well as Indian games as well. Can you tell us more about what you're attacking in that Indian game market?
So India market is a unique market because the constraining factor is internet speed. Yeah, and hence your game design, level of gaming, the client size, everything has to be very different from the global point of view. Secondly, the profile of gamer is a very, very casual or ultra casual, if I may say that. They are the first time gamers coming on mobile, trying to play very casual games, short sessions, multiple sessions. Basically, it's a snacky and snappy product for them. Versus a mid-core audience where we were talking about who are trying to find console kind of experience on mobile. That kind of audience doesn't exist. So the expectation of quality, expectation of graphics, expectation of game depth, it's very different. And that's why we divided the team into 2 halves, because the consumer per se is very different.
So you're also looking to acquire some companies. Tell us about that, I guess.
So we are looking at, we really have seen success in action brawler genre. We have really given us successes one after another. But one of the things which we really kind of have seen in action genre in our own games and as well as analysis of that is the retention is a big issue in action. The consumers run through the content or casual guys just come in and they play and they kind of leave your game. We are looking at RTS, we are looking at builder kind of genre which give us a large retention. And hence we can really look at a game as a service in a true form. And that's what our focus is, to look at studios which are still waiting for that first hit, but they've got knocks. They've understood what needs to be done. They've got a great team, and we are absolutely looking at working with them, ingesting them in these 2 particular genres.
So are you looking for companies that are sort of $2 million to $5 million sort of deals then, or what do you have in mind?
Our kind of sweet spot is a deal size of 2 to 5 million. Yeah. Which means that company revenues are still not there.
So that's like a one-person studio these days.
It'll be a 5. It could be 1 person. It could be 5 person. And given that it's my first Slash, and I'm seeing a lot of 1 person great energy out here. So it could be 1 person. But ideally, our sweet spot in terms of team size is 5 to 8 kind of people. They have worked together in past. They've come together. They've launched 1 or 2 games and have learned from those kind of experience. and believe that maybe 1, 2, 3, whatever is the next game which is going to be their hit game. Yeah, so that's what we're looking.
So this is part of a push to be a worldwide game company, then?
Yes. As I've said in my recent interaction with Reuters, we want to be a $100 million company very soon. Yeah, and organic growth will not take us there. So it has to be a both combination of organic and inorganic route. And this whole acquisition would be part of our inorganic expansion.
So how do you sort of hope to compete with some of these guys who are more established, you know, the Supercells and
I don't hope to
Gung-Hos of the
compete with
world?
Supercell.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because some of these companies have kind of, in my opinion, become outliers. Yeah, I believe that there will be in a space after top 3, 4, 5. There will still be a large space. And what I strongly believe is the democratization of the mobile gaming. If you come out with good games, people like you will write about it. Consumers will appreciate it. Yeah, and there is always a scope for you to do that. And once you have got strong KPIs, then you can really spend money on user acquisition, and the app stores will kind of really do that. So I believe that there is never saying that only 3 people will dominate this market or 4 people will dominate this market. Yeah.
So as far as the rest of the competition in India goes, what is that like? Are there a lot of Indian game startups now?
So what is encouraging for me is developer ecosystem in India is really exploding with the domestic market downloads happening. I'm seeing, just to give you some stats, 3 years back, since I'm associated with the good developer body there, we had roughly around 30, 40 developers 2, 3 years back. Today we have around 250 developers. Yeah, so developer ecosystem is exploding. Like what you explained about 1 developer outfit to 3 developer to 5 developer. We are seeing a lot of them. And also very encouraging is they are trying to create content for India by India kind of stuff. So a lot of experimentation, a lot of good stuff is coming out from there. And which is why I believe that when the domestic market continues to explode the way it is, more and more development companies will come in. And we have already seen the VC investment started happening in game development companies, which was not heard of. Last year we saw 2 of them happening. So I think that's just the starting point for a lot of developers to really get startup capital.
And are Indian game developers unique in some way compared to the rest of the world?
I don't think so, no. I don't think so. And I think what they are learning, and we are all learning, is our ability to really level design and economy design. I think that is something which is very difficult, when most of the guys around the world are also kind of grappling with. Yeah. And I think right now the Indian developers are more focused about either creating a full free-to-play content and then trying to see the volumes on Android can help them to generate money through ads. But gradually they will learn and evolve into an app purchase-based game mechanism. And that is where I think they will have to learn.
And are you seeing some other foreign companies come into the Indian market yet?
So if you see, India market has been presence of Zynga, EA, Ubisoft, Gameloft, all of them have been there. Whether it's a live operations or whether it's a fresh development, depending upon what their strategies they have been doing it. EA has been present through a publishing route in India. What I'm seeing here is now a lot of offshoots of people working in Zynga, people working in EA, who have come out and started trying to do their own stuff. Which is what the developer ecosystem is really getting a lot of motivation from. Yeah.
Very good. Any sort of last words here, then?
No, I think my only thing would be is that India market is really going to explode, and this is the right time for casual gaming, whosoever is serious about casual gaming, to really look at India and understand that market and be part of that market, because creation of brand and creating an affinity towards your brand at a very early stage will put you in a great position when you have 300 million Android phones happening there. So I think next 18 months creating an affinity for your brand of mobile games is the right strategy to go with, and that is going to really help. That's my only thing. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks. Pleasure.